Hey everyone, it's Stori here, and this is RP Weekly. So first off, for notable blogs, we're going to have Ministry of Roleplay, which is a Harry Potter themed RPH. They are super friendly, really engaged, they have a ton of resources. They also have a bunch of admins that are professors. So it's really all-in themed. And they are looking for admins to do certain things, so feel free to take a look. They are awesome people, awesome resource. Go. Next up is Helpers of Indie, and obviously it's an RPH set for indie role players. They have a ton of resources though for anyone, whoever you are, whatever you need, they have it. Next up is RP Aesthetics, and this is obviously an aesthetics blog for role plays. And while they do have their own aesthetics posted up, they also reblog a ton of photos and stuff. And so their tags or navigation is sorted by color or location, and I believe there's just other filters in there too that you can pick through. So whatever you really need, it's a great blog to use. I know I'll be using it in the future. Next up is Hamilton RP, and it's obviously based off of the musical Hamilton. It is set in New York City in modern times, and it has a rivalry between two newspapers, The King's Speech and The Hurricane. Nearly every face claim is POC, which I thought was wicked awesome. So feel free to take a look. It's actually the first Hamilton roleplay that I've seen, which just surprises me, considering how popular it is. So feel free to take a look. As always, also all the links to all the things that I mentioned are below. Next is Heroes of Tomorrow RP, and this is an Atlas Next Gen Avengers RP. And while I personally don't really like Atlas roleplays, I thought it was a really cool plot and idea, and they have some pretty cool characters going on. So feel free to take a look. Next up is Storm the Seas roleplay, and it's a Pirates versus the Navy roleplay, which kind of gives me Pirates of the Caribbean vibe, but I browsed through a lot because I was really interested, and they have some awesome characters going on, great plot, so feel free to check them out. And next is HQ GIF Hunting, and obviously it's GIF hunts, and they're all really high quality, beautiful quality of GIFs, so feel free to take a look if you ever need some. Next is Black Magic Roleplay, and this is a Monster High / Ever After human AU roleplay. I am not ashamed to admit that I have seen every single Monster High movie, and I know more about the plot than those because I know there's a lot going on in the lore of that. They are in the building stages, but it is a skeleton roleplay. I thought it was one of those searches that I was just like, I'm gonna look and see if there's any, and this one's actually pretty cool to look at. And finally, we have Coolsville RPG, which is obviously a Scooby-Doo roleplay. It is Southern Gothic, original characters, but also a skeleton roleplay. I know when I browsed through, I think all of Mystery Inc. is taken. But what I noticed was that their face claims were POC for, I believe, all but Daphne, which I found really cool to have because I've never I have not personally thought about what POC face claim I would use for Mystery Inc., but I think they did a pretty good job at picking faces. They just opened actually on May 30th, so get in there. They're awesome. And now we're going to move on to a short list of RP trends for the week. And what I've noticed a lot recently, firstly, is historical roleplays are making a comeback. When I was browsing through, I found a lot. They're focused mainly on being set in before the 2000s, even before 1900s. I think it's really cool. I just remember back when I first started role playing, it was like a miracle to find one that was from not present time. Unless it was a Marauders RP, then it wasn't in present time, but still. So I think it's really cool to check them out. You can usually go down like tumblr.com/tag/historical RP, and you'll find a ton of them that are open and active. Next, obviously because of the release of the newest movie, X-Men roleplays have come back. I remember every time there's a movie, there seemed to be an influx of them, which is why I mentioned the X-Men roleplay previously. And finally, this may turn into a tiny bit of a rant, just a little bit. So small windowed themes, meaning like the window's this big, but like the theme is this big. I don't get it, but I've noticed a lot of it for role plays, like the main roleplay blogs. Personal, do whatever you want to do. I'll suffer through. But when it comes to main roleplay blogs, why? I understand there is personal preference. Totally fine. Do whatever you want to do. However, I think what bothers me most is that a lot of us online like complain about font being too small and being unable to see, especially whenever things change with Tumblr, because that's a rant for another day. But there's very little room to even view anything, because even though the window is this big for the theme, only half of it is actually being used for posts, and that obviously makes things smaller. And it's really easy to fix the font, but I just don't get it. So that was just my mini rant. I'm going to end myself there before I can go on. But that's just something, it's a trend that I've seen recently. A lot of roleplays seem to be using it. And I am calling it small window themes because I don't think there's an actual name for it. I think they're actually called window themes, but I'm not really sure. I tried finding it out, and it's a very hard thing to search that kind of thing, actually. So that's all we have for RP trends. So let's move on to favorite faces. We have, first up, Natasha Negovanlis. She is Métis ethnicity, and she's from Kind of TV's Carmilla. She is perfection in every way. And she's the face of Kind of TV's YouTube channel, actually. She does a bunch of different shows. And finally, we have Devery Jacobs, and she's an actress. She is of Mohawk ethnicity. And I think she's adorable and perfect, and check out both of these ladies. They have great resources. And finally, we have the always every week goodie bag, and all the links and the goodie bag are below in the description. Take a look. They are awesome. I found some really cool things. Mainly for PSD, I have there's the window. Okay. Here. This PSD by Ministry of Roleplay, it is meant for Harry Potter roleplays. However, you could obviously always edit it to be whatever roleplay you need. But I thought it was a really cool character graphic because it's different from what I've seen before. There's also a writing skin color tutorial guide. It's guide with pictures, and it's just a great descriptor. Amazing resource. I highly recommend looking at it. I read through it when I found it. And what else? There's social media PSDs. And by that I mean almost every social media available is in this PSD pack. It is great quality. Feel free to take a click. See what I did there? A click at the link below in the goodie bag. There's some other awesome things like fonts and themes. And as always, have a great end of week, start of week, whatever time zone you're in. I'm Stori, and I will see you next week on RP Weekly.